Okay, let me hop back in here about the top 5 worst things about moving to Mexico. I already filmed this clip and I lost it, so the next clip that you see that's coming up is going to be a little out of order, but I will try and mesh it in the best that I can. Okay, so the number one thing that the number one worst thing about moving to Mexico that I'm talking about in this next clip is importing your things. You need to decide whether you are going to sell all your stuff or you are going to bring all your stuff. If you want to bring all your stuff, you have to have what's called a residency card. You have to go get your residency. Or be a Mexican national in order to do a menaje de casa, which is where you can send all of your stuff tax-free. Now, I got my residency because I was married to a Mexican national, and it took forever, which I talk about in my number 2, but you need to decide what you're gonna do. You're gonna sell or you're going to buy all your stuff here, vice versa. Which one's more sufficient for you? So in this next video, I'm talking about what we did. And looking back in the long run, it is not the correct decision. We did not do what was financially good for us. We spent about 25,000 US dollars getting everything just to Guadalajara. I'm not talking about to our final destination in Merida, just to Guadalajara. And it takes so much time in order to figure out all these things. What company you're gonna use, what company is legit. You have to pay down deposits, you have to pay insurance to move your stuff. And is your stuff really gonna come? I mean, who knows? It's Mexico, you don't really know. And in this next clip, I'm talking about the process of us getting there. You know what? I may have skipped 2. Okay, in case I skipped 2, my number 1 worst thing is importing your things, deciding whether you can do the menaje de casa, bring all your stuff, or you're gonna sell all your stuff. We used a company called Best Mexico Movers. We did receive some of our stuff broken, some of our stuff damaged. Take that into consideration. The number 2 was the length and process of getting residency. I tried to go to the Seattle office. They denied us, outright denied us. I had to drive 6 hours to Idaho in order to get my residency and to get the menaje de casa stamped, which is a whole nother thing again, like I say many times in this video, because that menaje de casa ended up not working because they didn't stamp 1 page. And so anyways, Best Mexico Movers took care of all of it for us, but like I said, some stuff we received damaged. Now this takes a lot of time, a lot of paperwork. You need to do it way in advance. And I don't plan. I've never been a planner. And we were doing this all on a whim. When we were ready to go, we put our house up for sale in Washington. Oh shit, our house sold, we gotta go. Oh, I need to go get my residency. Oh, where are my kids gonna go? And so when I go, which I think in this next clip is number 3, forgive me if I'm all messed up, I will try and do the best that I can. My number 3 worst thing was actually getting there, deciding whether you're gonna fly or drive. And I believe that's what I'm talking about in the next clip, is actually physically getting there, which we chose to drive. So number 2, when you get your residency, you have to tell them all these things, your destination, your financial situation, depending on whether you're doing it by, your mom lives in Mexico, your husband's a national, you're doing it off of your investment accounts. They take all these things into consideration, and it takes a long time to get it. Idaho was amazing. I was able to do it in 1 shot. I was there for 3 hours, got everything done. And of course, many people will tell you that you get it stamped on your United States visa, and then when you get to your final destination in Mexico, you have to go to what's called an INM office. Now, when I went to the INM office in Guadalajara, it is hell and back to get what you need. I mean, I had to make an appointment to get an appointment to make an appointment to fucking go online to fucking call somebody. It was just bullshit. And I had to go back like 3 times. And this whole time I'm scared that like I'm gonna get arrested and go to Mexican jail, because now they only stamp my shit for 30 days because I have my residency and they want me to get it done. So you gotta watch what you're doing and plan it. So to recap all of what I just said, in case I missed anything, number 1, importing your things. Sell all your stuff. Sell it all. That's what I wish I would have done. I sold 90% of my stuff, okay? I sold my trucks. I downgraded to a Suburban. I sold my jet skis and bought newer jet skis. My daughter. ¿Qué pasó, bebé? She's gonna come in any second. I need to go out there and see what she's doing. And so you have to figure out what's best for you, what's more financially costly for you. I looking back, would have sold everything. Now take into consideration, there are things here in Mexico that are more expensive than the United States, and then there are things that are cheaper than in the United States. So I can buy a lawnmower in the United States for, I don't know, when I was there, $250, $300. Maybe inflation has made the price go up now. Here, that same lawnmower is gonna cost you $650 US. Okay, and then there's things here too that you cannot buy that you can buy in the United States. Like my mom is shipping me a Shark wet mop vac. Can't buy that here. Here comes my little girl. Yes, baby. Stefano's not sharing? Okay, I come tell him, okay? Eat your apple, baby. Okay, again, now interrupted 205 million times. Number one, importing your things, sell or don't. Number two, length and process of getting your residency. Start way beforehand. And number three, which is coming up in this next clip, I'm talking about getting there. Like I said, I sold all of our cars, everything, all of our motorcycles, and I was planning to bring a 2007 Suburban, a big red lifted truck that was big enough to pull my boat, and my boat, and my 2 dogs. My 3 kids were in Washington at this time at my sister-in-law's house in this next clip that I'm talking about. And we nationalized our boat and our red truck. And in this next clip, I'm talking about the process of I was trying to permit my jet skis so that I can bring them through, driving down La Paz to get on the ferry. Process of flying or driving, which we chose to drove, and you'll hear about it in this next clip. Sorry if it's a little off-centered. That's the best I could do because somehow, some way, one of my kids deleted one of the clips. Sorry, guys. Okay, so here we go. Here's the next clip. I got a little misconfused. Hi, sorry guys, the painters are here. Ben? I got a little out of place, and I'm talking about the red truck I was driving through down to La Paz. The Suburban, I nationalized. The boat, I nationalized. The jet skis, I planned to permit and drive with the red truck, but I was unable to. So here we go into the next clip. Sorry again that it's all messed up, but you guys will get the gist of the things. Okay, one more thing before we go to the next clip. When you import your things and you're nationalizing them, your vehicle, boat, jet skis, motorcycle, whatever you're doing, has to say 3 days in Tijuana and 3 days in San Diego. Or if you're doing it in Texas or whatever border crossing. We did Tijuana to San Diego. So we drove from Washington, and I drove the Suburban pulling the jet skis, and my husband drove the red truck because it was a 2500 pulling the boat because the boat's 27 foot and it's very heavy. We drove all the way down from Washington, all the way down to Tijuana. Well, anyways, we have made it to Oregon. We dropped the kids off at my sister-in-law's house, and we are now heading. We have passed through Washington. We are in Oregon. We are at a truck stop right now. We have Jesus pulling the boat, and me up there pulling the jet skis. The dogs right back in here. What are you guys doing? And yeah, we're gonna hang out here for an hour or two, take a little nap, We've been driving for probably 3 hours, and then we will continue driving to Sacramento, where we're gonna do some oil change and spark plugs on this red truck we just got, and probably the Suburban, and then off to drive through the Tijuana border. So right now the kids are happy, they're good, they're with my sister-in-law. We'll take a little nap and then we will head out. All right, bye. See you in Tijuana. And then that's where we cross the border in from San Diego into Tijuana.
I'll wait here for him. Stay to the right.
And I go over there,
I guess.
where it says cars, trailers.
And then give me the menaje de casa too. Straight. En realidad tenemos nomás unas cosas que tenían el menaje de casas, pero vamos a pedir el permiso de la camioneta y los jet skis hasta Guadalajara. Aquí luego a lo largo de la mano izquierda. Okay. To the left right here. Okay.
Left or right?
You can park right here, and then the second window, you're gonna go ask for the permit.
Okay. So when we nationalized the cars, let me think straight here. They have to stay 3 days in Tijuana in a pension yard, go through all the paperwork, all the process, all the emission tests, everything like that. They take care of it for you. It's called an aduana, A-D-U-A-N-A, and then it stays 3 days in San Diego. Okay, and then they send it over, and sending it over is another cost on top of nationalizing. So keep that in mind. This is why everything costs so much to send stuff over, and you make your decision on what you want to do. Also, the process of menaje de casa, I said it was tax-free. Yes, it's tax-free, but you still have to pay for whoever's going to ship your stuff over there, and make sure you choose a company that you trust, that's trustworthy. We use Best Mexico Movers, like I said. Some stuff arrived damaged, but it did arrive. And in the end, my husband had to go get the jet skis anyways, so it's a whole process, and that's not even getting from Guadalajara to Merida, and that's knowing what destination you're going to. So if you don't even know what destination you're going to yet, that's a whole nother situation that you need to take into account. Okay, so last interruption, here we go to the next clip. Sorry, we got cut off there. I wanted to take some of our belongings with us in the car, and we're planning on permitting one of our trucks in my name and permitting the jet skis in my name. Okay, that was a whole nother thing, and I can make a whole nother video on that. We did not pass through. I was able to pass the red truck through and permit it in my name, which cost about, I think, $300. And then the jet skis, you call them ejercitos, I believe is how you pronounce it, when you cross the border. They saw our jet skis and they just saw money, money, money. Everybody knows you offer them a mordita, you get by. Well, they just kept increasing for us and increasing for us to where we were almost at $2,000 US. And that was like, we're not gonna do that. We were fortunate enough that my husband had a cousin that was able to import our stuff. It's called nationalize, actually legitimately nationalize our stuff, which is what we did with our Suburban, our boat, and then because they didn't let us pass with the jet skis, we did that with the jet skis as well. Each of those costed their own money. The Suburban cost, I think, $4,000 US, and it depends on the year, it depends on the make, it depends on the model. Now keep in mind, when we originally planned to move, this was a whole long process. We already knew where we were going in Guadalajara, okay? And so we knew exactly the address that the stuff was going to be sent to. But how do I say, it took so long to find the company. We ended up finding a company, Best Mexico Movers. One of our TVs got damaged. Our washer and dryer got damaged. All this got damaged. This knob I had to replace. If I move all this stuff, you can see all the damage here. all the damage done. And then again, remember, all the plumbing is different, so we had to buy a brand new dryer. But you can see the damage everywhere. It's also on the sides. I'm not going to be able to get over there. Our beds got, just black everywhere. My beautiful white couches that I inherited from my grandmother that were important to me and we took over got so dirty. And yeah, so it's you have to pick and choose what you're gonna do. If you want to know more about the importation process of how we got our boat and our jet skis and our Suburban over here, I can make a whole separate video on that. And if you want to know more about what it was like when we actually crossed the border and how they wanted us to bribe them and pay them money, which I hope I don't get flagged for that, but it happens, it's Mexico. I can make a video on that too. But before I go on to number 2, finishing with the importing, you need to choose whether you're gonna sell all your stuff or you're gonna bring all your stuff. Now, there's things here in Mexico that are a lot cheaper than the United States, and then there's other things that are a lot more expensive. Okay, so in our opinion, and me and my husband's opinion, we had to drive no matter what because we were taking 2 German Shepherd dogs and our most expensive items being our computers, cameras, jewelry, and everything like that in our truck, right? So that, and we thought we were gonna pull the jet skis, which obviously didn't happen. But looking back, I would have sold everything and flown over, and stuff that was very, very important to me, I would have left at my mom's house, which still is some stuff that's very important to me that is left at my mom's house in Washington. But I would have sold the cars, the household goods, the laundry machines, everything like that. Don't even get me started about the dryer because it was 240 volt and I had to buy a whole new dryer here. Didn't even work. And trust me, yes, we got an electrician. We tried to switch it. We plugged it in. Don't even get me started on that. So that being said, if you're gonna move to Mexico, number 1 worst thing is importing. Decide whether you're gonna sell all your stuff or you're gonna buy all your stuff over here. I sold 90% of my stuff before moving here, okay? We sold our 2 trucks. We sold our convertible, we sold our work van, all of the stuff which we could have used over here to make income, we sold in the United States before even coming here. Now, I ended up selling our jet skis and our motorcycles and things over there, buying different jet skis, and buying a older truck, a 2007 Suburban, which was a better price for us to import than a 2018 GMC, okay, or a 2018 Chevy. But looking back, let's pause right there. That's gonna go to number 5, okay? So keep in mind what I just said, and that's gonna go to number 5. For now, let's go to number 2. Okay, number 2 is length and process of residency. So when you're doing the menaje de casa or you are importing or permitting, you can permit if you have just your United States visa. You cannot do a menaje de casa if you have only your United States visa. You do have to get Mexican residency. I got residency by marriage. You can get residency by many things. Your mom lives in Mexico. You have financial investment accounts, many different ways. It is a long and lengthy process. We went to a few places in Seattle, not a few. We went to the embassy in Seattle. They wouldn't see us. They tried to tell us to make an appointment online, but online it said I had to call. But when I called, they said I needed to do it online. It was back and forth. We ended up having to drive about 6 hours there and 6 hours back to Idaho.
I'm not allowed to say anything. video. Yeah,
This
the
is
fire.
very serious. It's a fire.
I know. That's what I've been telling Jessica.
In order for me to do it, I had to bring a bunch of proof. I had to list out for the menaje de casa every single thing that I mean, down to counting how many batteries I was bringing, how many boxes of clothes, how many pieces of clothes were in that box of clothes, how many toys for kids, serial numbers of TVs and computers, and it's the menaje de casa is a whole thing. But going back to length and process of residency, you need to get this started outside of Mexico and way before you're planning to move. Because it can take a while. I was fortunate enough that when I went in to do the menaje de casa under my spouse's name, that they were very nice in Idaho and granted me my green card right then and there. Obviously, you just get a stamp on your visa, and when you finally get to your destination in Mexico, that is when they give you your physical green card, which in Guadalajara was not fun to do because now being in Merida, Guadalajara is much different. You gotta bribe your way through Guadalajara and to get what you need. Otherwise, it's waiting, appointment, and there's nothing you can do. I mean, we had Washington State plates on our Suburban when it finally arrived, which is, again, a whole nother story about how long it took to get our stuff to Guadalajara. Not even mentioning, and then to Merida. And yeah, we had gotten pulled over so many times and had to pay off the cops many times, and it's a normal thing here. I mean, unfortunately, there's nothing you can do. You probably hear my kids. We're not interrupted yet, but maybe. So start your process way before you plan to go. I unfortunately started a little late, but I was able to make it in time, and then just you kind of have to go with the flow with these things, because in Mexico nobody's on a schedule here. Like, they're all doing their own thing. Okay, let's go to number 3. Physically getting there. This is number 3 worst things about moving to Mexico. Deciding whether you're gonna fly or you're gonna drive. Are you bringing stuff? Are you bringing animals? Are you bringing personal items? Are you doing the menaje de casa? All of these things factor in whether you're gonna fly or you're gonna drive. When you're driving, you drive on the toll roads. Don't make the mistake that I made a few times when driving back and forth between Puerto Vallarta and Colima and driving through, unfortunately, cartel territory, which was really scary, and my mom was not happy that she was with us when we did that. Okay, and my spouse was not happy that I GPS'd it wrong either. Okay, but you will be driving only on tolls. So when you're going, depending on whether you enter into Texas or Tijuana, we entered in Tijuana, which wasn't fun. And yeah, so we entered into Tijuana. That's a whole nother thing, like I already said, with the jet skis that they didn't let go, which still makes me very angry. But we drove all the way down Baja, which was the most beautiful trip.
It's very often, you know? I mean, we're gonna be by the ocean, but look at this gorgeous, beautiful sights.
And look at the inlets, the color just changes.
This is an amazing trip, you know. I never drove in Mexico, this area, and it's like an amazing trip.
Yeah, this is like definitely like a lifetime trip that people should be putting on their bucket list. Like, it is just, it's out of this world. So beautiful.
All the way there for I don't know how many hours. It's gonna be by the ocean.
we have time tonight before we go to the ferry tomorrow, you need to do it so we can do the GoPro on the ferry.
If we got a good hotel, yeah, I think so. But I don't want to get anything right now because when we go to the ferry, I don't want them put everything back down. I don't know. We'll see. If it's not safe.
I wish we could have stopped and seen things and really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, my 3 kids were back in Washington with my sister-in-law. And we had no set date of when they were going to fly to meet us to Guadalajara. We had no idea when we were going to arrive. We didn't know if we were going to catch the ferry in time. So all those played a factor. Here comes a little girl. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Okay. 1 minute. Okay. My daughter does not want to leave this room because this is actually her room. So you're going to hear her playing and probably making noises in the background. Yeah. Okay. So what I was saying about getting there, deciding whether you're gonna fly or drive, like I was saying, we chose to. Okay, like I was saying, we chose to drive. Elena. And it was, like I said, my kids were back in Washington. Blah blah blah. I wish we could have stopped. I do have a couple pictures. If you scroll down on my Facebook, I don't know if they're on YouTube, but I will try and insert them here if I can and if I remember. The water's beautiful, it's turquoise, it's gorgeous. And you do, if you enter Tijuana, drive down Baja, depending on where you're going in Mexico, because we were going to the mainland to Guadalajara. Okay, so if you're going in just into Baja California, you're fine. But we were going over to Guadalajara. Elena. Yes. And so I was already, as we were going, kind of in a little bit of a culture shock. Construction starting to change. People are starting to change. Everybody's really friendly. Food starting to change. The places you eat at look a little bit more dirty, but it's normal. I wasn't accustomed to it. We barely made it to the ferry. Mind you, we're paying gas and we're paying for the tolls this whole entire time. Okay. Actually, you know what? I take that back. In Baja, I don't think we paid tolls. We were driving on the free roads in Baja. Okay, so, and the main thing you need to worry about in Baja is not cartel or anybody like that. It's about semis whip around corners like this and will hit you, and cows and all sorts of animals would just go out in the middle of the street and roam free. Okay, we then got on a ferry in La Paz and took it to Sinaloa. Now, this was the scariest part because we were in a big 4x4 red lifted truck with rims and we were nervous, okay? Again, bring this into your mind for when I talk about point number 5, okay? We were scared. We took the tolls. We were completely fine. We made it to Guadalajara. Everything was safe. We already knew our destination. So you need to really decide, do you already know your destination? Do you already have your residency? Are you doing the Menaje de Casa? All these things play a huge part in whether you are flying or driving. And this is on my top 5 worst things because it takes so much time and energy to plan all this stuff. And I don't plan. I'm not a planner. I go with the flow, right? And we didn't know who was taking our belongings to Mexico until like 3 days before. We were like, oh, we're out. We're going to Mexico. The house is sold. We got to go. We had no idea. We didn't know when the boat was going to arrive in Mexico. You really have to carefully plan and know And unfortunately, I'm not a planner, so that's why these things are on my list, and maybe they're not going to be on yours. You let me know what your top 5 worst things were about moving to Mexico. I will make a whole nother video about living in Mexico. Okay, that brings us to number 4, and that is the reality of buying in Mexico. Now, you already know we had property in Guadalajara, but we were not going to stay in Guadalajara. I like the water. I wanted to be by the ocean. My kids love the water. We wanted to be by the water, okay? So we... Okay, you want me to change you? No. Out there. Let's go. Give me 1 minute, guys. Okay, you're still going to hear her. Are you okay? Okay. What are you doing? Oh, okay. All right, again, the reality of buying, which is our number 4. So we already knew we had a place that we were going to in Guadalajara, okay? Like I said, I wanted to be by the ocean, blah, blah, blah. Okay, long story short, we went to so many places. We went to Colima. Barra de Navidad, I believe is how you say it. What did I say? Puerto Vallarta, Barra de Navidad, Colima, La Manzanillo. We went to Ajijic by Lake Chapala. We went to so many different places, to so many different states, looking to see where we were going to buy, where we wanted to officially settle. I loved La Manzanilla. Unfortunately, there was not any houses that we... Elena, she's stepping on this piano thing that makes noise, and it is literally my worst nightmare that I have ever bought this thing. Okay. Yeah, baby. Yeah, Daddy, he's setting up your bouncy house. You're gonna go in a minute, okay? You can swim in your pool in a minute. Daddy's out here. I'll show you. I'm setting up the bouncy house for them, and she wants to go in it. Let's see if I can get you set up right. You can go see, Daddy. Okay, so we went to so many different places and researched so many different places. This is the part where now we are already in Mexico. We're in Guadalajara. I'm not happy at this point to be in Guadalajara. Elena. I'm not happy at this point to be in Guadalajara because I am super culture shocked. Like I said, I've been in the tourist places, but I've never lived. The food in Guadalajara, it's amazing. No food tastes more fresh in any part of, I can't describe it. It's something that the taco carts, my husband's house was that we lived, was just right on the corner to where you can go get fresh fruit, fresh meat, fresh tortillas, tacos, tortas ahogadas, everything right there. I mean, it's beautiful. It's right by the church. It's gorgeous. The streets are tiny. Our truck did not work. We had no idea when the boat was going to arrive, where we were going to put the boat, when the jet skis were going to arrive, which is, again, a whole nother thing. In the end, my husband had to go and get the jet skis from Tijuana, because they have to, when you import, they sit 3 days in a pension yard in, what is the city bordering Tijuana? Whatever that city is, I can't remember. San Diego? Yeah. They sit 3 days in San Diego and then 3 days in Tijuana. My husband had to go pick them up anyway, so that was more time and money that we did not counter expenses for. Okay, so we were expecting all these things to arrive while we're looking at properties to go and buy, and we're doing a bunch of research. Now, let me tell you, I felt completely safe in Guadalajara. I love that atmosphere. I absolutely love the people and I love the food. I wanted somewhere that I can raise my children bilingual, somewhere by the ocean, and somewhere that was safe. We visited all the places I told you, and we chose Merida to be our destination to not only, oh yeah, it's for the baby. It's for the baby's wrists. It's not for your wrist. This is too small for your wrist, see? It goes on the baby. It's the baby's hospital bracelet. We also have factors implying about our income, right? Because I'm only 29. My husband's only 49. We did not know how we were gonna make income over here. We have an idea of what we're gonna do, but so far we're going off of savings, right? So we had to go somewhere where we knew we could make income. Okay. Oh, Sana, Kulita, Derana, Sana. Okay, your toes. Give me the toes. Sana, Kulita, Derana. All better. How better? In a minute, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so we decided on Merida. Now, why this is on my top 5 worst things about buying, the reality of buying, is there's no like realtor license like there is in the United States. It's not normal for them to do inspections on houses. Yeah, that's yours. Yeah, you can draw on that. Okay, you draw on that one. I'll switch you in a minute, okay? In a minute, baby. Oh, you want to come up here and do it?
Yeah.
Okay, come up here and do it, baby. Oh, there you go. Okay. Okay, so they don't do inspections on houses. There's no actual realtors. There's what they call advisors, but they don't really have their license. I'm not too sure how it works. I'm gonna look into it because it's something that I have interest in doing here in Mexico, because I think I can really help people to understand the process, because it's something that I have went through. But we lost 3 different houses that we put offers on because they didn't want to do a fideicomiso, which is because I have a residency, a green card, and I'm not a Mexican national, I'm a resident. You have to put it when you are in a certain range from the ocean or the border, it goes into a trust. And we lost 3 different houses because they did not want to do the fideicomiso to me. They said no, and we had no choice. In the end, we had to buy a house without doing fideicomiso. It was a long process, and now it's being switched over to fideicomiso. It's a whole thing, and if you want to know more about fideicomiso, ask me. I can explain the whole entire thing to you guys on a separate video, but it's for residents, temporary or permanent in a certain zone. Okay, now we live about like 8 to 10 minutes roughly right from the beach, from the Yucatan Peninsula beach, which is beautiful and gorgeous. We did not get an inspection on the house that I'm currently living in now, the house that we just bought. We did not get an inspection on it. The house was empty for a year. We thought it looked beautiful. We were going with the flow. We didn't really know the process. This is where I should say my mom told me to do things that I did not do, that I should have listened. And she's never lived in Mexico. She's traveled, but never lived, and I should have listened. She told me, spend the money to get an inspector, and I should have listened, because now we're 25, 30K down, US dollars down, because we've had to do painting, repairing, cracks, plumbing, the roofing, so many things. The construction here in Mexico, anywhere in Mexico, I'm not talking about Baja California, mainland Mexico, is all in cement, bricks and cement. And it's completely different, and it needs consistent upkeep. And don't even get me started about the bugs. That's gonna be on the top 5 things worst about living in Mexico. Okay, so that's a whole nother process, is the reality of buying, okay? Now, remember when I told you to keep in mind for number 5. Let's talk about the United States. What are you doing? Let's talk about the United States media. Okay, they portray Mexico to be so bad, all cartel, terrible, all these things. I gotta hurry because my baby's crying. we drove through Sinaloa. Yes, we drove on the toll bridges. We were in a lifted truck. We had 2 German Shepherds with us. We had a huge paddleboard with us and a bunch of computers. Now, we were completely safe because we were on the free roads. She just fell off the bed onto the floor. But don't worry, it was on a bunch of stuffed animals. Now, we've also driven, like I said, when I made the mistake, when we were going from Guadalajara to Colima, to check out Colima, I made the mistake, Puerto Vallarta to Colima. I made the mistake of, was it La Manzanilla? Am I getting it confused? I think it was Puerto Vallarta to La Manzanilla. We were going through very hot territory. I was in charge of GPS. I GPSed us, and I accidentally clicked off tolls, and so we took the free road. There was multiple times where we had people trying to stop in front of us, where people were trying to stop behind us, and we were in the Suburban at this time, 3 kids, my mom, me, my husband going 115 miles down the road, swerving like this because we're trying to get around people because we don't want to get stopped. Now, given all that, I feel more safe in Mexico, and I'm talking when I was in Sinaloa, Puerto Vallarta, Colima, La Manzanilla, Guadalajara, and here in Merida. Definitely here in Merida. I feel more safe here in Mexico than I ever did in the United States, okay? In the United States, I would not let my kids play in the backyard by themselves because I was afraid somebody was going to hop that gate and take them, okay? I don't want to send my kids to school in the United States because I don't know if their school's going to get shot up. I don't want my kids to be hanging out with people in the United States because all of the drug addicts in the United States, I understand. A lot of people are going to be like, but the drugs come from Mexico, blah, 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 blah. Yes, if you're not involved with drugs here in Mexico, if you're not involved with the cartel, you have absolutely nothing to be worried about. I wear my jewelry, I wear my rings, I'm fine. I have jet skis, I've got a boat parked outside my house, I'm fine. We did decide to move into what's called a fraccionamiento, which means it's a private security. So we do have 24/7 security in our neighborhood, but I mean, in Guadalajara, I wouldn't have left stuff outside my house because it would have been broken into, right? But walking around, it's not like what the media says, where the cartel's out shooting up everywhere and you're getting your telephone robbed and you're getting your jewelry robbed. It's not like that. You're safe. You're not getting kidnapped. Your kids aren't getting kidnapped. Yes, there's places that are not safe. Anywhere you go in the world, there is, okay? And there's not places not safe in Seattle, in Compton, in Texas, everywhere. There's places that aren't safe. Mexico's no different. It has those places too, okay? But don't get caught up in all this media telling you that everywhere is not safe. It is so beautiful. People are so friendly. I have never experienced, I have never experienced a more welcoming atmosphere and people. Guadalajara was a little bit more welcoming than Merida is. Merida is a little bit different. They're Yucatans, they're Mayans. It's a different culture. My husband will say he does not like the food here, but it's different. Okay, I'm getting off topic. All right, the media. Okay. All right, so don't listen. Yes, when we drove through Tijuana, it was not fun. I had to go back out into the United States multiple times. Like the 4th time I went out, they finally thought I was probably bringing drugs in because they x-rayed my whole car, made me get out, everything like that. But that's the border towns. When you get inside, it's much different. Now, I'm not going to walk around with a wad of cash in my hand and flash it and tell everybody that I got this and I got that, and I'm not going to do that. But you wouldn't in the United States anywhere, right? At least I wouldn't. I feel safer here in the long run. Don't listen to the media. I'm not just talking about Merida. Yes, like I said, in Guadalajara, I would not have left my stuff outside my house and trust it to not be stolen. Here, we have our generator outside. We have a bunch of stuff outside, and I know it's not going to be stolen because we're in 24/7 security, or anywhere in Merida. I cannot tell you how many times I've walked around and I've seen people just leave their purses on tables and just walk away, and then somebody, hey, ma'am, you forgot your purse, in Spanish, obviously. It's safe, and I love it. And I don't want people to be afraid to move here because of all the cartel violence. There was one night in Guadalajara when the cartel leader did get arrested, that we did hear gunshots and there was buses being lit on fire and stuff like that. But they were taking, I don't know if this is a double-edged sword or not, but they were taking people off and not hurting people, just making a scene for what had happened. Now, remember, when you're in Mexico, you're spending in pesos. For somebody like me, I'm gonna, hopefully, we'll see. We don't know what the story holds for us right now. Be making in US dollars and spending in pesos. That's the goal, right? But for people who are here and living here, Mexican, not having a remote job or a tourism job, and are making in pesos, it's a hard living. I mean, minimum wage is 200 pesos per day here, and that's $10. 10 US dollars per day. I have been looking to hire a nanny, and she only wants to charge me 400 pesos per day to take care of 3 kids, cook and clean for everything. 400 pesos, that's $20 to take care of 3 kids, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., cooking, cleaning, 3 meals, diapers, bottles, cleaning the house, laundry, everything, okay? For us, that's worth it, right? And you have to decide, but my point of that is when it comes to cartels, everybody looks at it like it's so bad, and yes, it's not a good thing. Yes, I understand what comes with it and it being brought into the United States. Some people, I think, I don't know, obviously, don't have a choice, because it is hard to make a living in Mexico if you're making it in pesos, right? But then again, I really don't know because I'm not in that situation. And when I live around Mexico, I see so many people, like when we go to the malls, they're full and people are buying so much stuff and everybody's driving nice cars. And I don't know yet. Give me a few more months and I'll see where that goes. But as far as safety goes, you're good. Just don't go to the bad places. You know where the bad places are. If you don't, research it. I have got to go make my little baby a bottle now and put this little girl. Do you want to go in the jumper? So my next video is going to be the top 5 worst things about living in Mexico. So stay tuned for that and I will upload that soon. Love you guys. Bye.